And I think we are just about ready to start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this month's edition of the Humans in the Loop webinar series. My name is Gary Gavrilov, Chief Commercial Officer of Humans in the Loop, and your host for this webinar series. Thanks you for those of you who are joining us for, I believe it's already the fourth time, and welcome as well to everyone who joins us for the first time. Today we have something a little bit different from our traditional webinar format planned for you, and I'm also very happy to welcome a very interesting guest and one that I'm well familiar with. I'm happy to welcome our Chief Impact Officer, Hester Gartrell, who is with me today. And in this webinar, we will try to dig in a little bit deeper into how Humans in the Loop is trying to merge two worlds, the world of tech and the world of conflict-affected and displaced people and communities. As you probably know, this is something that lies at the very heart of HITL's mission, that is, to provide conflict-affected people with dignified employment opportunities in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning, while maintaining the crucial human role in the development and the application of AI systems, and at the same time, adhering to and supporting ethical principles in the collection, the processing, and the utilization of data. These are all topics that make daily headlines in the tech community and beyond. But today we will give you the chance to hear from a person who sits at the very crossroads of the tech world and the world of the people who have lost so much due to circumstances entirely out of their control. So before we begin, I would like to give Hester a brief moment to introduce herself and her role in the organization, following which she will walk us through some of the highlights of HITL's impact-related initiatives and work. With that being said, Hester, you have the floor. Please introduce yourself to our audience and your work.
Thank you so much, Gary, for having me here today. It's really a pleasure. So as Gary has said, my name is Hester and I'm the Chief Impact Officer at Humans in the Loop Foundation. I'm also currently in the role of director while our founder is on leave. I've been working in the sector of education and social integration for vulnerable groups for over 10 years, including in areas of supporting vulnerable children and families, working with children in care, and also people from deprived communities across the UK. I joined Humans in the Loop in March, and I'm leading our wonderful impact team there to deliver digital upskilling programs to people affected by conflict across the world. So as Gary said, I'm also going to tell you a little bit more about the foundation and our work over the last 6 years. So let's hop onto that theme. So let's start with the problem. What is the problem that we're trying to make impact in and in regard to? Well, 108.4 million people in the world are forcibly displaced. Actually, that's 1 in every 74 people are facing displacement due to fragile or conflict-affected environments. And at Humans in the Loop, we aim to support people affected by conflict and people who are displaced into digital remote work opportunities. The aim is to support people to financial independence through paid work opportunities and opportunities to both digitally upskill and to upskill in relation to languages needed for remote work in the global digital economy. We're a really unique organization. I'm working, as I said, for the foundation, but we also have our profit-making side of the company where Gary and other colleagues are working. And we work very closely together and overlap very much with our mission and our aim for impact. What actually has been our impact since we started in 2017? This is always something that I'm very proud to share. Since being founded, we have worked with over 1,000 people to offer them paid work opportunities. We have offered over 500 people, and we've trained over 500 people in digital and language skills. We have a real focus on female empowerment, and over 53% of our workforce is female. And finally, by working with our NGO partners across the world, we've distributed over €1 million in salaries to people affected by conflict. So you can see here how we've had a real broad and global impact. We are working currently in a number of conflict areas and also areas where people have been displaced too. Currently working with partners in Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Lebanon. We also run some shorter term digital experience projects with partners in other locations. We've had pilot programs in Ukraine, Portugal, DRC, Jordan, Colombia, Moldova, and Yemen. So able to spread our impact across the world and to work with a number of different people affected by different conflicts to support them with their digital skills. And finally, we're really proud to be an award-winning organization here at the Foundation, and also for our founder, Eva, to be an award winner. This year, we were very proud to receive the SDG Digital Game Changer Award from the International Telecommunication Union and the UNDP. We've also been recognized this year by the Cartier's Women's Initiative Award and the EU Prize for Women Innovators. So not only are we focusing on empowering women who are affected by conflict, but we're also a woman-led organization. So thank you, Gary. That's us, and I'll hand back over to you.
Thank you very much, Hester. This has been an amazing insight into the impact that HITL pursues and into the way that we work with this amazing community of very highly skilled people. It's, for me personally, and I think I speak for the entire team to say that, it's an inspiration to know that we're working side by side in helping these people improve their lives, but at the same time contributing to some of the most cutting edge technological projects currently in development out there. And I think now I would like to use the fact that we're both on the same side of the fence. We're part of the same team. We're family here. So I'd like us to have a little bit of casual back and forth for the benefit of our audience and just focus a little bit more on the mission and the vision of the Humans in the Loop Foundation. In other words, how does the organization aim to bridge this gap between the tech world and the world of people that have been affected deeply by conflict, perhaps been displaced of it and had their livelihood potentially destroyed for a significant period of time? So I can kind of fine tune my question in a way. Let's start at the beginning. What inspired the creation of Humans in the Loop and its mission to merge the tech and the conflict affected worlds?
It's a really interesting question and actually quite an interesting story. Our founder, Eva, and of course, Eva very well as well. After completing her university education, she came back to volunteer with some NGOs in Bulgaria, where our organization is based, and really got a great experience working with others who were in the NGO sphere, and also very closely getting to know the everyday challenges and struggles of people who have been displaced from their home countries and were seeking asylum or refuge in Bulgaria. What became really clear to Eva is that there was a great deal of work going on to support people with the basics, what we would say were the bottom of the pyramid in Maslow's hierarchy of need: shelter, food, and also kind of the basics such as clothes, perhaps as well, and maybe some Bulgarian language. But really where there was a gap was allowing people, once they had those basic needs met, to step up, to integrate into the society, into community, and also to become financially independent so they could then begin to be making decisions and choices for themselves again, rather than relying on the NGO sector to support them. Eva saw a great opportunity in the field of annotation, which is a very good entry level opportunity for people who perhaps have a low level of digital skills or haven't previously worked in the digital sector before. And so she saw this as a great opener opportunity for us to provide livelihoods to people. And that's how Humans in the Loop started.
That was an absolutely amazing summary. Thank you very much for that. And kind of to wrap it all up in a nice tight package, and also to give let's say a very clear definition, because honestly, for the corporate world, in a lot of ways, a social enterprise, particularly in such a groundbreaking, disruptive field, which is attracting a lot of investment, a lot of attention, some of the most um, the sharpest, the quickest minds and the quickest capital in the world is currently being poured into artificial intelligence and machine learning projects. That world is in a way a bit removed from the world of social enterprises and nonprofit work. So can you define for us in a nice, clear way, what is a social enterprise and what are the implications for its employees?
Yes, so a social enterprise is effectively an organization, or in our case, two organizations, because we are a company and a foundation, who work to provide corporate services, but they do not pay those profits out to shareholders, for example. All of those profits are either reinvested in the business or they are donated or used for social impact purposes. In our case, at Humans in the Loop, 25% of net profit from the company is donated to the foundation every year. And it is with that support that we are able to deliver our services of digital upskilling and working with other NGO partners across the world to support people affected by conflict. So that's it in a nutshell. In terms of what it means to work for a social enterprise, I think you really hit the nail on the head. It's a very interesting and quite complex structure, and in terms of you kind of have these two worlds coming together. We're working very much in a profit-driven, innovation-driven tech world. And then at the same time, we're trying to think, how can we have the best impact on people who are affected by conflict, which is kind of a very different sector from that profit-driven IT world. So I think it brings us challenges, it brings us opportunities every day. It's also a privilege to work for this type of organization because most people who are working for us, I would say all people who choose to work for Humans in the Loop, do it because they believe in the cause. Firstly, they may be very interested in innovation in the IT sector. Maybe they've worked in corporate companies before, but they've actually decided to work for Humans in the Loop because they have a passion about the mission. And that's something really special as well.
Absolutely wonderful answer. And I think if I pick on that thing that you mentioned, which I think had to do with the unique challenges that come with a mission like this and working for an organization that has a mission like this, what would you say are some of the key challenges that Humans in the Loop as an organization, if you want, you personally face in trying to merge these two worlds and to turn these challenges into opportunities?
I think for us, the movement of the people that we are working with is one of the key challenges, as well as the variety of different contexts in which people are living. Let me give you an example. At the moment, we are running a lot of programs to support people from Ukraine in Bulgaria. And we are very keen to open up those opportunities for people to come and work at Humans in the Loop. However, due to the situation, a lot of people are uncertain as to whether they will return to Ukraine and when they will return to Ukraine. And so starting a new role is really something that's quite a big step for somebody. Similarly, in terms of different contexts, when I kind of talk about the other countries that we work in, the context of someone working in and training in Bulgaria is very different from somebody, for example, in Afghanistan, where some of our women are unable to leave the home due to the strict Taliban rules there. So we're really working in these variety of contexts, which is a massive challenge. But I think the Humans in the Loop model is really well equipped to deal with this because our model is essentially bringing the concept of the digital nomad to people who are forced nomads because of conflict. And so we are able to be flexible. And the idea of many of our projects is that people can train online from anywhere, and that they can also, depending on the needs of the client, of course, on the company side, work more flexibly. So if they are within the country and they suddenly have to move to another city in that country due to conflict or a fragile state of affairs, then they actually can do that and continue to work as long as they have access to internet and the tech equipment. So for us, I would say those are key challenges. There are, in some contexts, also challenges in relation to access to equipment and access to the internet, which are obviously key for remote working and also for accessing any of our training programs, which are all hosted online. However, this is why we work so closely with our NGO partners, because when we are working outside Bulgaria, we very much ensure that we are working with partners who have a physical space in the country where people who are working for us can go to use equipment and use the internet, and who can also give us information about the current context and the challenges that people have within that context, so we can begin to find solutions in relation to access to tech equipment where there are specific circumstances, such as Afghanistan.
Great, great. That is a really interesting insight, and also I think something that probably not a lot of organizations tend to think about in the context of digital nomads, especially in the sense of being a digital nomad forced by circumstances as opposed to, out of personal choice. And if I can piggyback off of your answer and just provide my insight from a commercial perspective. To me, what it means to work for a social organization, I think the benefits would be, even the word benefits is not, descriptive enough of the combination of things that come into effect here. But the knowledge that you are working for a social enterprise, which helps people in an extremely difficult, perhaps the most difficult situation of their life, but at the same time giving them opportunity for a future, and not only a future, but a future in one of the most interesting, one of the most forward-looking concepts currently facing humanity, is extremely rewarding. It's extremely it's what gets you out of bed in the morning, and what helps you force through those long days, the overtime hours, and all of these things that I'm sure if I sound them off one by one, you will be nodding knowingly to each and every one of them. But it also means that you have to equate this with the expectations on the side of our customers and our partners, which we are working in a corporate environment. So we have clients that have certain expectations, that have their own responsibilities to their clients, to their stakeholders. So in terms of compromising those commitments in order to be able to work with an organization like us is simply not an option. So I'm very happy to say that in combination with being personally rewarded to be able to work with an organization like HITL, I'm also happy to say that we are consistently meeting and exceeding those expectations. So there is never the question of, okay, I will work with this organization that helps people and I will make a compromise with my deadline. There has never ever been an issue like that for us. So that makes me extremely happy. And also on the other hand, it may sound a bit cynical for a person who is not commercially oriented, but it's a great selling point. It distinguishes us from the for-profit organizations that provide similar or related services to what we do. It gives us a leg up because we are proud of what we do, we believe in it, and there are multiple organizations out there who also wish to be part of such an impact and such an effect on humanity, going beyond what their own product or service may enable them to. And just going off along the same lines, I often get asked, and I have to speak, face to face with our partners and our customers. But now that you're here, I think we can hope for no better person to explain this to us. Impact measurement. How do we, as an organization, measure the impact of our work, and both in the corporate and also in the conflict affected domain, let's say.
Okay, so I'm going to talk very much from an NGO perspective. And on the
Absolutely.
impact side, we really have a strong monitoring and evaluation strategy, and we're constantly reviewing our programs and our success. For example, how many people have we got into work? How many people have we trained? Are people completing our training courses? If not, why not? What is their feedback? Are there things we could be doing better? We make sure that we survey all of our workers every quarter to understand their experience of working for us. All of our trainees are surveyed when they complete each course, and also have a one-to-one connection with their teachers, their teaching assistants, and our staff team in the impact side of things. So people can reach out to us directly as well. We do case studies, we do interviews. We also have a really fantastic beneficiary advisory board. Our beneficiary advisory board is made up of people who are currently working on our projects. We have one person from each of the locations where we work, and we meet monthly to discuss our progress as an impact team and to present to them our strategies, our plans for the future, to really be held to account by the people that we are working with and for, because at the end of the day, that is the point. And the point is to deliver work which is useful to those affected by conflict. And we should be moving from a working for to a working with. And that's something I'm really passionate about. So that's the impact side of things. But I'd love to hand over to you to talk more about the corporate side, because I know that's kind of more of your expertise.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, definitely, we also have a strong focus on the impact side, and obviously not to such a degree as you being focused exclusively on impact as we are focused on our commercial activities. But for example, we go through a quarterly revision cycle where we assess all of the projects that we've completed over the past 3 months, and we actually score and mark down every single project on the basis of whether it's more aligned with the tech for good principles or ideas, as opposed to being a purely commercial project. So we, as a company and also as a commercial team, we always try to prioritize and to vie for those projects where there is attached an element of benefit for humankind, which goes beyond the particular application of this technology. The examples are numerous, but to try to be more specific, those would be your projects where the technology is specifically applied to, for example, environmental conservation or disaster prevention, search and rescue, medical applications of machine learning and artificial intelligence, agricultural, smart farming, where projects tremendously, projects that reach production phase tend to dramatically increase the efficiency of, for example, harvesting a given type of crop, which is a problem which is no one on earth is immune to, correct? So we tend to focus a lot on that, and we also keep close tabs on something that you touched on briefly, which is, I think, also one of our unique features as an organization, and that's the diversity of our workforce. Diversity is becoming increasingly more important in the tech sector, and specifically in the AI sector, because diversity in AI helps eliminate bias. And that is one of the crucial key challenges standing in front of every single AI or machine learning system out there. And it's also one of the greatest benefits of working with HITL, because we have this capability to spread our work over a varied geographical coverage and also involve people from a varied range of backgrounds and cultures in these projects. And these are parameters that have a very specific bearing on our commercial relationship with our customers, and also on the actual success or performance of their own project. So yeah, we definitely invest a lot of time and effort to try and make these results visible and also understandable for our partners, clients, and stakeholders. Mm,
Yes,
this,
Gary, I was actually going to ask you that. So I know that a lot of our clients know we have a global reach, but what
sure.
would you say in terms of how the people we work with understand the impact that we are making?
We absolutely. So apart from obviously sharing all of the news and the statistics and the impact assessments that you and your team prepare as part of your commitment to the overall organization and our partners, we also try to communicate these things regularly to also to our commercial partners, our customers in this case. So we try to do this, quote unquote, on the corporate level, but we also try to do it on the personal level, if that makes sense. We recently launched this initiative where we take a look at all of the projects that we've completed with our clients. We select a given client. We've done business over the past, let's say, couple of years. We want to begin communicating in no uncertain terms. Your projects contributed to exactly X amount of, X quantity of impact that we're committed to. Thanks to your work with us, we managed to help that many people get their life back on track. We managed to help that many people access upskilling opportunities and improve their professional standing and also their personal living standard because of your project and because of your personal work with us. And I think this is an important point to drive home, because sometimes we're bombarded with information from left and right, up and down, and it becomes a bit of a sort of diluted, vague concept of, oh, my employer adheres to the principles of ethics and a sustainable supply chain and ethical work policy. But what exactly does that mean? So we try to again reach down to the very personal level, to the people on the other side with whom we're fortunate enough to work with, and who trust us with their projects, to communicate directly to them. Thanks to you, this is what we've been able to achieve. This is what you've achieved in a way. And I think this actually brings us to another very interesting point, and a point with which I'm quite, and I think we all are quite proud of, which is we were recently, Humans in the Loop was recently certified as B Corp. So what is the B Corp movement? What does it mean for HITL and also for our foundation and our stakeholders?
Yeah, so like you say, it's something that's very exciting for us, and very recently certified as a B Corp. So what actually is the B Corp movement? Well, B corporations are companies that are verified by B Lab to meet high standards of social and environmental performance, transparency, and accountability. Essentially, what does that mean? We treat our workers well, and we are an ethical business who take things such as environmental concerns into consideration. The aim of the B Corporation movement is to transform the global economy to benefit all people, communities, and the planet. It's very much about making our world more equitable and involving corporate organizations and businesses in doing that. So it's really a growing movement in Europe. And in terms of the impact for our foundation, well, as a foundation, we are not actually B Corp certified. We're already an NGO, but it is the business side of Humans in the Loop that has been certified. And it shows that our business is as impact focused as our foundation. So that's something really exciting for us, to ensure that we have synergy between the two halves of our social enterprise, and that we've been officially externally certified in relation to our impact and our mission.
That's a great summary and a great piece of news that again I'm really proud of us for being able to achieve, and definitely from speaking from the commercial or corporate perspective, having the B Corp certification is a great badge of honor for us. It's also an amazing tool for us to very quickly and definitively demonstrate and prove that our commitments are not just words on paper, but they are in fact something that we've been standing by and executing over 6 long years. So in that sense, it makes my job that little bit easier. If that doesn't sound too too smug, I hope it doesn't. if I can take us in again in a little bit of a different direction and just talk a little bit more with you about how humans in the loop collaborate with with tech companies, with humanitarian organizations, and also the conflict affected communities in order to achieve our goals. Can you tell us a little bit more about the annotators working for humans in the loop? Where are they based? What are their future perspective, and what is their link with data annotation?
Certainly. So I've already mentioned that we're working in several main areas: Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria and Turkey, Lebanon, and Bulgaria. We also run our pilot programs in other locations. Really, people have different challenges depending on the context. I've already alluded to some of our Ukrainian beneficiaries in Bulgaria and how there's this debate about whether to return to Ukraine and when to return to Ukraine, and how to kind of progress with their career in Bulgaria, whether to kind of see it as a long-term situation, or whether to kind of sit and hope, as we all do, that they will be able to return to a peaceful Ukraine soon. Um, in relation to our other locations, we definitely kind of have challenges, for example, in Lebanon, where a lot of people who are refugees are not eligible to work there. So our annotators just have a real variety of experiences. We have a great mix of male and female annotators, so a real gender diversity. In terms of future perspectives, again, it really depends on the situation and the context. Those based in Bulgaria have access to the European market. It's a lot easier to work remotely for digital companies, to find jobs on things like LinkedIn. For others, unfortunately, in locations such as Afghanistan or Iraq, where there may be sanctions, it's very difficult for people to access those opportunities. In addition, we really love to upskill people and support people into digital freelancing, because this can be a really great option for, again, flexible work and using their annotation skills, not just with humans in the loop, but with a global community. However, in some of those contexts, again, due to sanctions, it's just not possible to access the relevant payment platforms or the freelancing platforms. So for some people that we are working with, humans in the loop is very much one of very few limited options for them to work, and they really would be our priority in terms of supporting people to access finance through work with us. Whereas in other locations, such as Bulgaria, people have a lot more opportunity. So it's really about supporting people to develop those basic digital skills so they can use it as a stepping stone to other digital work. We really have to take the context into consideration. I know that many of our data annotators, because at the end of the day, that is humans in the loop's commercial focus. So we are training everyone that we work with to learn the skill of annotation, are very much keen to develop and deepen their knowledge. Maybe they came to us without knowing anything about data annotation. They've now been working on projects and successfully producing high quality work for our clients, and are really excited and interested to develop their skills further, to learn more about annotation, to learn more about the AI field. So that's something we're excited to support people into, and to develop more trainings in this theme. But this is also where, as a foundation, we're really keen to connect with corporates who can support us through their corporate responsibility policies and initiatives in areas such as impact hiring and pro bono support, so that we can provide more opportunities and greater support, especially to those who are in situations and in locations where they have limited options for paid work.
Right, right. And to again build a little bit on top of your answer, I think one of the things that I'm most perhaps proud of and is extremely interesting to a particular subset of our partners and customers out there is the fact that Humans in the Loop is in a unique position to work with medical doctors with experience that spans multiple decades, that have extremely robust certification in a variety of fields, expertise, quite deep expertise in a given area of medicine. And these are medical specialists that are prepared to obviously engage in the work of data annotation for the purpose of supporting their current circumstances. And we are fortunate enough to be able to utilize a portion of their time for some of these projects. And I really hope that this also contributes to the diversity of both the people actively engaged in the development and the production of machine learning systems, and also directly contributes to the quality of the data, because these are medical specialists that potentially in other circumstances would not look into data annotation, would not be able to connect with these customers of Humans in the Loop that are based in all over the world, particularly Western Europe or the Americas. So I find that this is an extremely interesting topic, and it also kind of, I would like to highlight our Doctors in the Loop initiative that was launched at the end of last year and has already had significant success with some amazing specialists working together with Humans in the Loop. So I would actually kind of like to again shift a little bit, if you allow me, and just ask a more high level question. How do we as an organization ensure that we the voice and the opinions and the perspectives of the people that we work with, these conflict affected people and communities, are heard and are also incorporated into the decision making process of our organization?
Yes, so I've already spoken a little bit about how passionate I am and also our team is about forefronting the voice of the people we work with in our work, because it is really important to be an organization that is led and where the voices of people who are facing difficult situations due to conflict are really integrated into our work, because that is the only way that we can tell whether our work is effective and ensure that it's meeting people's needs. So our beneficiary advisory board, as I previously said, are really key in that. Another key partner is our NGO partners across the different locations we're working in. So we do work with some large NGOs and international aid organizations, but in terms of our partners in the countries that we're working with, those we prioritize, and we primarily work with smaller scale refugee-led organizations such as Roya, such as Workwell, such as Brightpoint, and also Anira in Lebanon. So for us, working with those organizations is really key, because it means that we're not only having the voice of beneficiaries through the advisory board and through our surveys and feedback opportunities throughout the year, but also from our partners who sit as equals to us and who we're in regular contact with. So that's really key for us. As well, I just want to mention, I think it's really vital for any organization working in this sphere to focus on personal relationships. We're very much a social team. We like to have opportunities for all of our annotators and our partners to come together. I hope some of them are on the call right now, but also I know we have regular opportunities. For example, this month when we were celebrating our 6th birthday, we're very much a team that considers ourselves not just as a core team, but for everybody who works as an annotator and everybody who is training with us, to have opportunities to come together, to develop connections, to feel supported, and to have a global network. And in regards to this, it's also a great opportunity for us to be there, to show our face, and to listen, most importantly, to listen to people's experiences and people's feedback about their experience of training or working with us.
Thank you very much, Hester. That was an amazing summary and a great answer, which I hope really provides a look into Humans in the Loop and a look into a part of the AI community and part of data annotation as a subset of that potentially our customers, our partners, and our stakeholders may not have had the opportunity to look at so deeply and to understand so well. So I thank you very much for all of your answers and comments. And now, because we try to keep our webinar sessions at around 45 minutes to give people a little bit of a breather at the end if they've booked an entire hour. So I'd like to open the floor for questions from the audience, and I have some questions that are already submitted, and I'd like to start with the first one that I see here, which is extremely specific, and perhaps you will be able to comment. But let's see, how do you remunerate people in remote areas like Afghanistan or Yemen?
It's a really great question, and this is where our local partners come in. So, when we work with a local partner, such as in Afghanistan, Brightpoint, they are essentially the employer for our annotators, and we work with them such as an outsourcing company, essentially. And therefore, uh, it is our partner who will distribute the salaries in the way that works best for the annotators in that country. That's because in many of the regions that we're working in, some of the traditional payment methods are blocked or it's just not possible to use them. And we need to ensure that we are transferring money in a way that is correct as a company and a foundation. And also that is very clear and transparent for our accountants and our financial statements. So for us, rather than kind of using non-traditional methods, perhaps something such as Western Union, though we will sometimes use this in emergencies, we prefer to work with our partners as outsourcers and to support them to distribute the salaries. So that's a very specific question for you. Gary, if you have anything you want to add, please do, because obviously you're on the side of the business. Yes.
Sure. No, this is a very good question and a very important one, because it's a natural question to ask of an organization that states that we have a commitment to pay, in simple terms, to pay more than the average rate for the industry, right? Because this is part of our commitment, and it's what helps us achieve our impact. So the immediate answer is, well, how do you ensure that this happens? So it is not, definitely from my experience, it is definitely not an easy process. It is definitely something that costs us as a core team a lot of time, a lot of effort, and sometimes frustration. And it's also something that requires constant management. It's not a process. It's not a payroll process as organization based in developed countries would think of. It requires and necessitates us to be in direct contact with all of our annotators, to be able to verify, to be able to ask, to be able to answer questions from their part on topics that are in some may look at as awkward, but in our domain are a matter of well-being, a matter of survival in some cases. So when are the payments supposed to arrive? Is this correct? Is that amount reflective of the hours that I've put in? So it really, I know that it really requires constant management, and it's definitely overhead that a lot of other organizations have never had to think of. So very interesting question. Thank you very much for that. I see here one which is for me. Being a social enterprise, are you focusing more on your annotators than on your customers? Can you take care of both? That's a great question. And I know that this session has been quite focused on impact and what we aim to achieve for our annotators and beneficiaries further beyond their work mandate with Humans in the Loop. And I know it may sound as if we are 100% focused on that, and the projects are just a means to that end. However, as I said in the beginning, not a single one of our customers would choose to work with Humans in the Loop had the quality of our work and the deadlines that we are able to meet not been up to scratch and not been at par with what they can find elsewhere on the market. So if anything, we are, well, we're not entering the fight with one hand behind our back, but at times it may feel so, because we need to compete in a very saturated and a very competitive market with commercially oriented for-profit organizations. But we need to do this while maintaining this engagement and this commitment to our annotators. So in order to achieve that impact, we cannot compromise on, taking care of, delighting even our customers. It's a matter of a principle, and it's a core element of doing business, just like any other commercial entity out there. So how do we do that? Well, we're just that good. I'm sorry if that sounded very smug or very immodest of me to say, but please take it as a joke.
Yes, Gary, I
Um,
was going to say, mic drop, end the webinar here.
and the and the webinar here. Okay, one final question. Let me. Can you, okay, question for both Gary and Hester. Can you elaborate on the ethical considerations that Humans in the Loop takes into account when collecting and utilizing data annotated by conflict affected workers? Oh, that's a very interesting question. Hester, if you allow me, I can probably try to have a go at this one,
Yes,
and
go
you
ahead.
can.
Yeah, I'm happy to pick up as well, but you go ahead.
Sure. So this is a very good question. So um, we are an organization that adheres to the principles of ethical AI, which means both the ethical principles that go into the development of AI models and systems and products featuring AI models and systems, um, and also in the ethical treatment of the workers engaged in the various stages of said development. So to reiterate in simpler terms, Humans in the Loop will not work on projects that are in the military, defense, or related sectors. Humans in the Loop will not work on content censorship or content moderation projects that would potentially um, expose our workers to contact which is sensitive, which is offensive, which is potentially criminal. Humans in the Loop will not work on surveillance projects and projects that have to do with tracking of um, general population, outside of, let's say, a strict, for example, corporate environment. So face control for an airport, or face control for a corporate headquarters, or something like that. Broad application of personal identification and tracking systems are projects that we would not touch. As well, our annotators, given their background, given the sensitive nature of their life situation at the moment, we as an organization are very careful not to put them essentially in harm's way, and to have them be exposed to some of the types of data and process of annotating that data that go into some of these projects. On the perhaps opposite end of the spectrum, looking at projects where data collection is allowed, Humans in the Loop would not undertake projects for data collection where there is a specific requirement for data to be collected of a specific country or a specific ethnicity. We can only participate in projects where, for example, identifiable information or facial information is collected for the purpose of training a machine vision system, where we can ensure that there is sufficient diversity in that data set. In that, we are, first of all, from a technical perspective, avoiding bias and improving the performance of the system in the end. And also, we're avoiding bias towards ethnicities or communities that, for whatever reason, may be overrepresented in the training data set, and therefore become that much more targeted by the system once it is put into application. I know that may sound a bit going in every which direction. So if there's a clarification coming along with that, I'd be happy to answer it. And I think we have another just final question from the audience. Hester, if you have one more minute, we can take care of that as well. How long does a startup of a new region take on average? Recruitment of people, payment processes, and the associated, things that need to be set up in order for us to work with a new region.
Yes, good question. It really depends on the program and the project because, as I mentioned, we work with a number of larger international aid organizations, and in this case, it can take a little bit longer due to the due diligence and the processes in place from these organizations. I would say typically around 3 months. Is kind of the minimum we would do. It's really important for us to always run annotation training and also to ensure that those target audience are have the necessary basic digital skills, which we either will support them to develop or that we will work with the partner organization to develop. Plus, we need to do a mock work project. This is to, by the way, always paid. So we don't expect people to trial out as annotators and be unpaid, always paid, which is why we normally will work with a partner organization and a funder to deliver these pilots. But essentially, with that mock work project, we are testing out whether that target audience are ready to become annotators, but also we're testing out whether that partner in the location on the ground are suitable partners, because we need to make sure that those partners are on board with the mission, have the people on ground there to support the annotators, and also, most importantly, as a social enterprise, not only to make impact to those people, but to ensure that they have the management on the ground to support us to deliver good quality projects so that we are, like Gary said, attractive to clients and delivering what clients need. So it's really important for us to take that time in that 3 months to assess and to discuss with the local partner to ensure that everything is in place so the workers feel supported, they have the skills they need, and they have the management support to be able to deliver those high quality projects.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Hester, for that answer. And that brings us close to the top of the hour. And as I said, we always try to keep our sessions a little bit shorter of 1 hour to give people a chance to grab a cup of coffee before their next meeting, because we're a wonderful organization like that. So I'd like to take this opportunity just to thank every single one of our attendees today, our viewers. We will be publishing a recording of this webinar. And please, if you have any other questions or you would like to reach out to Hester or myself with anything related to the work and the impact that Humans in the Loop is engaged in, please do not hesitate to visit our website at humansintheloop.org and feel free to reach out to us via email and or phone. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending this Humans in the Loop webinar episode. Lovely seeing all of you. Thank you very much, Hester, for taking the time to do this together with me. I really appreciate your opinion, your expertise, and I look forward to continuing our work together.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you everyone for coming along today. It was wonderful to hear and to answer your questions.
Thank you, everyone. This concludes our webinar. I'd like to wish everyone a pleasant rest of the day and hope to see you in our next webinar episode. Thank you and goodbye.